Hey, it's Prerak and today we are reviewing and installing this Miofive dual dashcam in my 2016 Polo GT. So let's begin first by unboxing the dashcam and then we can install it and then review it. I received two boxes from Miofive. One contained the hardware kit and the other was the dual dashcam itself. The hardware kit contains the power cable for the dashcam, which will get wired directly to the fuse box with the help of fuse tabs. And the fuse tabs are supplied as well, of varying sizes with extra fuses and a manual for installation as well. Now for the dashcam itself. It comes in this really high quality packaging which has a good weight to it. The box contains a manual for operation of the dashcam, some extra adhesive strips, a couple of electrostatic stickers over which the dashcam is placed, and a microfiber cloth to clean the lens. This is the rear dashcam, which shoots at 2K resolution at 30 fps and has a hinge to adjust its angle. And this is the main front dashcam, which shoots at 4K resolution at 30 fps. It comes with a stick-on bracket, so in case you wish to carry it outside, you won't compromise the adhesive. The box also contains the wire for the rear dashcam and the wiring plus power adapter if you wish to wire it the easy way and not hardwire it. So let's begin the installation by first powering the dashcam up from the 12-volt socket and checking the center of the windshield. I chose this spot as it makes the lens sit in the middle and as high up as possible, while being slightly hidden away behind the rear view mirror. Once I was happy with the spot, I cleaned the place with the provided cloth and applied the electrostatic sticker and placed the dashcam on top of it. Now it was time to route the wire for the rear dashcam to the back of the car. For that I need to take apart some trims. First is this A-pillar trim, which is held in place by 3 locks and a connector for the tweeter. Then this B-pillar trim, which can just be pushed out of the way. And then I began to tuck the wire in along these trims with the provided crowbar or tucker. And then for the C-pillar trim, a lot more of the boot trims had to be removed. First, the lower C-pillar trim, which was held in place with just a couple of locks, and then the boot trim, which had a couple of screws and a lot more locks. And then finally, the C-pillar trim could be removed, and the wire could be routed through it seamlessly. I then quickly put together all the trims. Now to finally place the rear dashcam, I found the center and marked it with masking tape to make sure the lens gets placed there. And then I pasted it directly to the glass instead of adding an electrostatic sticker like the front, as the heating element didn't allow it to stick very well. Before putting it all back together, I pulled all the excess wire at the front and left some slack in the rear to allow the movement for the boot. And then I put the final trim pieces back as well. I checked it a couple of times to make sure it doesn't stretch and cause damage to the port. Now comes time to hardwire the camera. Hardwiring it is important as I wish to use its parking features as well. So I began to tuck in the wire to the fuse box just like I did previously. Hardwiring it is pretty straightforward. There are 3 wires, black is ground, red is ignition power and yellow is constant power, straight from the battery. In my case, fuse number 24 and fuse number 15, which I have added myself for the other accessories that I have added, will be used with the help of provided fuse tabs. Fuse number 15 being ignition power and fuse number 24 being constant battery power. Whenever we're adding a fuse tab, the original fuse from which we are tapping should be closer to the prongs, and the new fuse for the newer accessory should be on top. With the fuse tabs installed, we can connect these terminals. In case you don't know your fuse box diagram, here is a quick way to check which fuse is ignition power or constant power. Take your multimeter, set it to 20 volts DC. Put the black wire on a ground location of your car, and then with the ignition turned off, check which fuse has power. That fuse is constant power. The fuse which has no power with ignition turned off is probably on ignition power. So turn on the ignition and check that fuse again. This is how you will know which fuse to tap into. Finally, for the ground, I just gave it ground along with my electric driver seat's ground. With all the wiring done, I finally turned on the dashcam, and when I connected it with the app, the first thing it did was to go through an update. And finally, we can go on road to check the clarity of its footage. So this is some of the footage from the dashcam. It records multiple 1-minute clips and saves any emergency clips separately, where it detects a crash or a sudden movement with the help of G sensors installed in it. But here you can see its clarity in light sun during early evening. And then the same is being simultaneously recorded by the rear dashcam. And this is some footage during the night drives. Now it does struggle a little when a lot of light from multiple directions falls on it and it causes glare, but overall you can tell about the number plates and the road signs. And because we have hardwired the camera, we get to use its parking mode feature. Whenever you've parked your car and turned it off, it goes into park monitor mode, where it will just take 1 minute time lapses till 24 hours and stop after that, so as to not drain your battery entirely. Anytime it detects there has been a movement to the car, it saves that clip separately for you. So with the dashcam now installed, let's talk about it a little. Let's talk about its hardware features first. The front dashcam is built with really good quality materials. It has high quality plastic, it's glass everywhere. It has a 2.2-inch display which has touch buttons on the side. It has one physical button and it has a hinge with which you can adjust the angle of it. The lens on the dashcam is of Sony IMX and it has Travis night vision, which helps you at night for better video clarity, and it has a field of view of 140 degrees. As you can see, it's written right there, 140 degrees. While being placed at the center of the windshield, it has a view of the entire windshield, the entire bonnet, and it has a really wide view, which is good. The touch buttons here let you toggle through the entire settings of the screens, which you can do via the app as well, but if you wish to do it on the go, then you can use these touch buttons. The physical button right here just turns off or turns on the display, and if you long press it, it takes it into the parking mode. If you're just sitting in the car and you're not really driving it, then you can just put it into parking mode, with which it will go into a time-lapse mode so that it doesn't take up the entire storage while you're just sitting there, you're not really driving. Speaking about storage, as you can see, it doesn't have a physical slot for an SD card. It's because it has it inbuilt. It has 128 GBs of inbuilt eMMC storage, which is embedded multimedia card. So you don't have to worry about carrying or first purchasing and then installing an SD card on it. It has 128 GBs of it and it's plenty for this. With the hardware features out of our way, let's discuss the software features that this has. First one being 5 GHz of Wi-Fi, which helps you connect this to your phone, with which you can interact with it, change some settings, access all the videos it has recorded, any emergency videos, loop videos, whatever it has recorded. And you can access the rest of the AI features as well. The first AI feature that this has is stop and go, which is if you're stopped at a red light and you're distracted and the light goes green, the traffic in front of you starts moving but you don't. And if you're distracted, you won't notice it, but the dash cam will keep a check on that. The dash cam will warn you if the traffic in front of you has started to move and you haven't. And it'll ask you to keep up with the traffic in front, like so.
Keep up with front.
Using AI, the dashcam also scores your driving. It is constantly monitoring how you drive, how quickly you accelerate, at what speeds that you're driving, how sharply you take a turn, and how hard you brake. So it keeps a check of all of that via the G sensor that is inside of it, and it scores you at the end of the day or after a couple of days. It keeps a track of how you have been driving, and over the days it compares your scores as well and gives you a graph where you can just check how you have been driving. Along with that, it also tracks where all were you going with the GPS that is inside of it. It tracks what routes that you took, where all you went, and how you drove within those routes. So if your children drive the car or your drivers drive the car, it's a good feature to have to track how they drive it, how they're treating your car, and where all they're going, if you wish to track that. So those were all the features of the Miofive dashcam. And what's more important is the footage. So here is some of it. I'm actually pretty impressed with the dashcam. It has great quality footage throughout the day and it's pretty good at night as well, especially on well lit highway roads. In pitch dark conditions, the LEDs from my car tend to cause glare, but even then you can tell apart the road signs, number plates, and what's happening on the road overall. I would have liked it if there was a way to add a polarizer to the dashcam to reduce glare, but I'll figure out a way to do that in the future. But overall, this dashcam is pretty impressive, and if you're looking for the same, there is a link in the description with the discount coupon code as well for a quick 10% discount. Be sure to use that. So yeah, thank you so much to Miofive for sending this dashcam, and thank you so much for all of you watching this video. I will see you in the next one.